Hello everyone, I'm Fozzie or Cam and I'm here as always with my co-host Will. How are you doing today, Will?
I'm doing great, Cam. How about you?
I'm doing really good. We got a lot of very interesting topics to cover today. Um, we're over here, honestly mourning. You know why we're mourning? We're mourning because it's become apparent to us that the Morbius, Madam Web, Sony universe is over, and we're just struggling and trying to figure out what to do with ourselves now that our favorite franchise slash series of movies is coming to an end and it's going to be rebooted. Yeah, we're just working through a bunch of emotions here. But in reality, no, we're not. We're not upset about this at all. We're actually really intrigued by this, and that's something we'll be breaking down in a little bit. We have to talk about the new Stranger Things series. Yeah, we've got some thoughts on that, especially the trailer, because we've talked about it before. But now that we have this trailer, we have the story. Um, yeah, we have some. I have some. I know I have some thoughts on this. We have the trailer for the Darth Maul show. What is the official name of that, Will? The Darth
Uh,
Maul show?
Maul Shadow Lord.
Maul Shadow Lord. I mean, I was impressed by the trailer, so we're gonna break down that today. And last but not least, I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on Marty Supreme, which I saw very late. Nonetheless, I saw it, and I have thoughts on that as well. Um, Obviously, more thoughts on that will come in the future because, like usual, like we've done for the past while, we've done this for a while, right before the Oscars. I don't know. I feel like in the past we might have done it just at the end of the year, before the end of the year, but I don't know. I think definitely last year we've shifted it more towards doing our yearly movie ranking around the time the Oscars come out, just to build up excitement for us and for viewers, and also it's a relevant time to be talking about it. I feel like that's the due date. I mean, if you're trying to watch enough 2025 movies, I feel like the last chance you can watch them and have it count for that year is by Oscars time because that's the last time those movies are talked about. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people might disagree. People might say it's like a letterboxed mindset, and it kind of is. But whatever. We kind of go with the flow. But yeah, we're very excited for that. But let's kick off the show, Will, and really just to talk about this mall. Can you say the name again?
Yeah, Maul Shadow Lord.
Shadow Lord. Yeah, I watched the trailer and I was really impressed. I thought the animation was top tier. I thought it looked really good. Do I kind of think they're dragging this mall mall character? Yeah, I mean they've kind of been dragging it for a while, which is crazy for someone who had one movie appearance with two lines and was killed off, supposed to be killed off in that movie. For me to be getting sick of him, that's an insane thing. But that being said, it's not like he's a bad character or anything. It's not like I don't want to learn more about him. It's just with seeing him in the Clone Wars, him being really saturated in the Clone Wars, especially in that last season, last few seasons there, and then you got him in Rebels, and the same thing there. That season three is just full of Maul. Um, so yeah, we've definitely gotten a good fill of Darth Maul content. I mean, we know his fate at this point. We've kind of fulfilled the arc, and that's kind of what gets me. The fact that we've seen his story start and end. Really, we've seen all of it. So to get a show about Maul after we know his fate is a little weird, and it seems like we're kind of pushing it just a little bit. That could just be me being overly critical, but I feel like it's something you definitely have to look at when you're basically bringing back a character who died in season three of a show that came out years ago. But I mean, I'm a fan of the character, so at the very least, I'm interested and I'm hopeful that it's good because if it's good, then my claims will be pretty invalid, if they're still capable of making a good show despite this character kind of being dragged out. I mean, all props to them. That's impressive. Will, do you have any thoughts on this new Darth Maul show?
Yeah, I mean, I would say like the trailer didn't like knock my socks off and make me go, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be the greatest series ever." No, but
Yeah,
I did not think it was a bad trailer by any stretch of the imagination either. I'm kind of at a point where kind of all series now for me need to kind of prove themselves from the standpoint of I've just seen so many instances of not a great trail of like a great trailer and then the series turns out not to be great. So, I would say this series is in prove it to me mode because as you said, we've already seen so much of Darth Maul and we know his story and we know where it ends. So is there
yeah,
more story to tell? But I'm also interested to see it, absolutely, because he is a compelling character. I loved how he was used in Rebels, and it's not every day that you get to see a character who is a villain as the lead of a series. Most series are about here's your hero and here's your villain, and your hero's gonna defeat the villain. It is not many times that you see the villain as the lead of a series, and the lead
yeah.
of the series is the name of a villain, Maul Shadow Lord. So that is where the more compelling aspects of the show come in.
100%. Um, but I get that it takes place in a time period which we didn't see him. It's just between that Rebels and end of Clone Wars gap. Still, I don't want to say I'm sick of it, but I feel like why not just do something a little bit more original, you know? I mean, I'm not saying Star Wars, especially these days, is the most original series, you know? It has a habit of bringing back characters, reestablishing the same characters over and over again, and even new characters are basically old characters. And that sounded weird and might not make sense, but let me explain what I just said. I mean that look at Mandalorian. He's basically what everyone thought Boba Fett was, you know? And they're basically just taking that Boba Fett formula of this cool silent bounty hunter and making him Din Djarin. So yeah, the originality in that sense, uh, mostly in the Disney era, hasn't really been Star Wars specialty. But like I said, if they can find an innovative way to handle this character in this time period, whatever. And speaking of a lack of originality, well, we've got a Stranger Things animated spin-off. The
Yeah.
more the more time I have to have this show settle with me, the more I don't want to say disgusted because that's pushing it, the more unhappy I grow with this show. And what I mean by that is, the show ended, Stranger Things is over. And to have a show with the same exact characters and have a story that wasn't mentioned at all in the series and have it take place while other stuff is going on, having separate arcs that were never mentioned before, after, again, whatever. It just isn't logical unless maybe they get their memory wiped at the end of this series, but that's illogical, And I think I just the more I let it simmer, the more of a cash grab I feel that this is, and we're not on a good streak right now. Well, we just had two TV shows that we just talked about, and I think they're both kind of cash grabs, and that kind of just shows you the state of television and film right now a little bit, and it's a little bit depressing, but still, same with the mall show. I think there's a way that this could be good, but right now, taking this at face value, sort of just basing it off the trailer and the concept and the plot that's been revealed to us now, this seems like a lazy attempt at just scraping the bottom of the barrel of cash from Netflix subscriptions pockets. It's definitely upsetting. And honestly, I think they could have done something else with the Stranger Things series, and we know that they are doing other things. So that being said, why bother releasing this waste of time that probably not a lot of people will watch, and if they do, they'll probably be disappointed because it most likely won't be that good of a show. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too mad about the Stranger Things show, but the more I have to sit with this, the more upset about it I get. Will, do you have any thoughts and feelings on the Stranger Things spin-off?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think the fact that they're releasing it just like 4 months after the show ends is risky. Now I get maybe there's a thing of like, oh, they feel like the show's over and the fans are sad and we miss these characters and they want to give us a chance to reunite with them. But it's also like releasing it so close to the original series ending is just going to make it where the fans are going to be even more inclined to compare it to the original series, which just ended. And there's no way this is going to be as good as the original series. It's just impossible. Now, I didn't think the Tales from '85 trailer was bad by any stretch, and I really liked the song choice in it. But similarly to the Mall Shadow Lord trailer, did it knock my socks off in any way? No. Now, there have been certain series, like here's a couple Marvel series to use as an example. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and Marvel Zombies. Do I think they're these like great flawless, perfect series? No, but was I able to move past their flaws and have fun with them and have a fun watch? Yes. So I'm hoping that that's what I'll be able to do with Stranger Things Tales from
Yeah, but here's
'85.
the thing with that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Marvel Zombies. That's an original idea, you
Yes,
know.
it is. Yes, it
Despite it
is.
containing the same characters, it's in a branch timeline and it takes a whole other concept of being a zombie apocalypse show and mashes it up with these characters. Whereas this show is just something that could have happened in a separate season.
Yep.
And it just feels more lazy than Marvel Zombies is, you know?
Yep. And that's where my concern comes in because like we've talked about on so many occasions, it's just like is there more story to tell? And how is there possibly more story to tell in this show taking place between seasons 2 and 3? And as you said, Cam, like, isn't it kind of impossible to think that the events of the Stranger Things Tales from '85 were never mentioned at any point in seasons 3 through 5, which were the 3 seasons that take place after them? So, yes, that aspect of it has me very worried. I'm just like, it is so disappointing to see how much Hollywood refuses to let things rest. And even with our favorite show, like even with our favorite shows, it's like I love what the Cobra Kai creators were able to do with the first 5 seasons of that show, but that it's they take it a season too far with season 6, and then oh, I'm hearing about these spin-offs in development, and then I love the Duffer Brothers, but Stranger Things ends, and then oh, 4 months later, here's this animated series that the Duffer Brothers are executive producers on. It's
And
just
that
like,
doesn't even,
when
I
can
feel
we
like they're
let
not
things
even as
rest?
involved. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And I feel like if the Duffers aren't going to put their full effort into this show, because like you said, they're executive producers, which means, yeah, they have creative control and stuff, but it's not their show, I feel like. And so, why would you want to watch that? That's part of what gets to me, and it just feels lazy. And that really makes me mad.
Yep.
But it used to make me mad, Will, and that was this disease to movies. It was the Sony Marvel Spider-Man movies, whatever. You had Venom 1, Venom 2, Venom 3, Morbius, Madam Web, oh, and Craven.
Yep.
I forgot about Craven. I didn't
Yep.
watch Craven. I didn't watch Madam Web either. I know what happens in Madam Web because I've watched, I don't know, like video essays and such about it. Um, it does. I'm not gonna waste my time watching it, especially now that we know that this Sony verse, as it's called, is gonna be rebooted. I don't feel the need to watch these movies, and honestly, will Spider-Man Noir be a part of this reboot? Was that confirmed?
I I don't know. How I kind of take it is like the animated Spider-Man movies and the Spider Noir. I get the sense that that's kind of in its own world, and I take this more to mean like Venom, Craven, Madam Web, Morbius, that type of stuff. I take it more to mean is like the ending of like those Spider-Man villain movies.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's more what it means, and I think the reaction people are having to the Spider-Man Noir trailer just shows like They could have been doing this the whole time. Instead, we got a Craven movie, three mediocre at best Venom movies, and a Madam Web movie when we could have just been getting awesome, cool, unique takes on the character of Spider-Man. Venom movies are one thing. Those worked. Clearly, there were three of them. A Morbius movie works far less. No one knows who Morbius is. No one knows who Madam Web is. People know who Craven is, but it was too late at that point, and it was just a poorly made movie. It got delayed a bunch of times, so it just, well, what's even the point? You know what I mean? So to see this, especially with the Spider-Man Noir trailer, which I'll get into in a sec, to see that they could have been doing this the whole time, it just really makes me happy. But in the future, Will, what sort of projects do you think we'll see from this rebooted slash restarted Sonyverse, you know?
Yeah, I mean, whatever they do, I definitely think, it would be smart for them to move away from, what you said about these characters like Morbius and Madam Web that people just don't know very well. I assume that they'll go forward with more well-known characters. And honestly, if I were them, I would just prioritize Spider-Man because that seems to be the thing to work best with Sony. So I would say just stick with that and don't bother with the other stuff because that's your strong suit. And in terms of the end of this, Sony, I guess you could call it like extended Spider-Man universe. I think the decision that they're making now, look, this reboot that they're doing, it doesn't mean that like that the future projects are going to be great or that it's going to be an improvement over what came before. That will remain to be seen. But I will say that I think Sony is making a great choice, at least trying something new here, because the Venom movies, I will give the Venom movies credit for this. There are certain movies that fall into the good bad movie category to where they clearly have their flaws, but you're able to enjoy them in spite of their flaws and make you say, that was a good bad movie. That's how I feel about the Venom films. Like that to me is the category that those movies fit into.
I agree.
Now, I have not seen Madam Web, but in terms of Morbius and Craven, my expectations were so low going into both of them that they weren't um, as bad as I was expecting them to be because my expectations were just so low going into them. But it's not like I think either of them are great films by any stretch, and it's not like I spent any time thinking about either of those films. Like neither of those films left a lasting impact on me. I'll think about Venom from time to time and be like, oh yeah, Venom, not perfect, but good bad movies.
Exactly.
Enjoyed Tom Hardy's performance. Morbius and Craven, like I'm not saying they're awful, but I never think about them. They just didn't stick with me in any way. So we'll see if the reboot's even good because they're gonna have to prove that. But I think doing the reboot was the right decision. It was just time, and Sony made the right choice.
Oh, I 100% agree that it was the right decision. But you're saying, Will, that you've seen Craven?
I have.
Jog my memory, did you see it in the theater?
I did. Yeah,
Okay, I kind of remember this
I
now.
did.
I can't believe it. So, can you break what was bad about Craven? Because I can point out what was bad about Morbius, and because I mean I've seen that, and it was just the most poorly acted, horribly
Yeah.
written, awful visuals. I mean, you can point things out there. You can even point out flaws with the Venom movies and such, but. What about Craven was so bad? Because on the surface, it looks like
Yeah.
it could be an interesting concept. The
Yeah.
trailers had me interested, but what about it was bad?
Yeah, so like I would say like the reason Kraven the Hunter is not a full-on failure as a movie is that as you said, the concept is interesting and there are interesting elements about the concept and the story that kept me engaged as a viewer throughout the film. But I think it's Ed you just talked about this with Morbius, I think it's the writing. I think there's stuff about the storyline and the concept in Craven that is interesting and that kept me engaged as a viewer throughout the film, but they would give the actors such just bad and generic lines to say that as a viewer it would just leave you scratching your head.
That makes sense to me. I can see that being like that, especially that actually kind of sounds similar to criticisms I have with other movies in this series. But yeah, I mean, as happy as I am to see this whatever Sony first get rebooted. It also kind of pains me that it even had to happen, you know? This whole thing could have just been avoided if
Yep.
they had just made movies or TV shows like Spider-Man Noir, which we just got the trailer for. Will, I'm telling you, this is gonna be great. I think Nicolas Cage in the right situation is a great actor. But I mean, he's always insane to watch at the very least. But yeah, I think he looks like he's gonna be phenomenal in this show. And to see like a 50-year-old Peter Parker, or it's actually not even Peter Parker in the show, it's Ben Riley. So that'll be interesting to see, especially in action scenes and such. That'll be cool to see. The black and white film, super cool concept, especially in it going hand in hand with this noir concept. So that'll be awesome. They're also releasing it in color. Not watching that in color. I'm gonna watch it like it was intended to be seen. And I feel like even if it wasn't, you should watch it this, I would watch it in black and white anyway. I feel like it just goes hand in hand with the character, and I've also noticed that the color version doesn't even look that good, just in general. So yeah, I'll be watching this in black and white. And honestly, Will, this looks like a really good, compelling show. Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it, and boy is Marvel in need of a great show. Now look, Marvel is just so hit and miss that all of their shows, have to prove themselves. To me, we talk about the great trailer and then not the great product. Like, let's take a look at Thor: Love and Thunder. I thought the first trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder was spectacular. Movie did not live up to it. So it is going to have to prove itself to me from that
Definitely.
standpoint. But when I saw that trailer, I was like, ooh, this feels like a wildly different take on Spider-Man that's different than anything we've seen before. And originality this far into Marvel is just so important. It's so important to make things feel new and fresh and not like things we've watched 1,000 times before. So I would say it was the originality and the freshness and feeling like nothing that had been done with Spider-Man before that I appreciated about that trailer.
100%. I get that totally. I think originality is a big part of what brings it up for me, and that was something that was lacking completely. I mean, I guess you could say there was an originality in those Sonyverse movies, just in the way that they picked the most obscure characters that no one even cared about. But it wasn't an original in the sense of story structure, visuals, direction, writing, any of that really. So to see something like this that has a unique look, feel, casting choices, yeah, it'll be interesting at the very least, and at most it'll be a really compelling Spider-Man series that we'll have right before seeing our Spider-Man Brand New Day movie, which comes out in July. Well, this wasn't even scheduled, but do you think it's gonna get delayed? Is Brand New Day gonna get delayed?
Have you been hearing things about that?
It's not but where's the trailer?
Yeah, that is interesting. I was very surprised they didn't utilize the Super Bowl for the trailer. That really stuck out to me. The fact that we didn't get a Doomsday or a Brand New Day Super Bowl trailer, that was eyebrow raising to me for sure.
Yeah, definitely surprised me there. And for a Marvel movie
Yep.
that comes out in a few months, basically, to not have a trailer by now is really surprising. So I'm gonna be really annoyed if this movie gets pushed back, because I have a feeling if this gets pushed back, we might get Doomsday pushed back, and that just really messes everything up. It annoys me to no end the way that movies can just be pushed back. That's why I can't trust a single rumored movie or release date or whatever, because I just have in the back of my mind it's not gonna happen. It's gonna get pushed back. This, that. I don't know if you remember, Will, but there was, I don't know. I don't even know if we talked about it, but there was a Batgirl movie that was filmed for DC. It was supposed to be an HBO Max original. It's forget who it starred as Batgirl, but I know Brendan Fraser of The Mummy fame, and recently he was in The Whale. Brendan Fraser was in that movie. He's supposed to play the villain Firefly. Michael Keaton reprised Batman in that movie. It was finished filming. Trailer was about to come out. Bang! They canceled it. They canceled a movie that was already filmed with a trailer that was about to be released. They canceled it, and now it's never going to come out. That's insane. So it's stuff like that that kind of scares me into movies being pushed back or not released at all. But that's an even larger conversation. But yeah, at the end of the day, I just hope they don't meddle with the release date for either Doomsday or Brand New Day.
Yeah.
Just
Do you
because,
think with Brand New Day, potentially, it could be the movie's not going to get pushed back, but they know that the movie's not great, and that's why they're delaying the trailer?
I'd be surprised for a movie like Brand New Day, but I mean, we've seen stuff like that happen before, and that would be bad. But no, I think at the very least, for a movie like Brand New Day, they've probably put a lot of money into this movie, and they know people are gonna see it either way. It being a Spider-Man movie and all. The last one was 4 years ago, so that alone will get people to watch it. So I don't think they spare out on the marketing. That would surprise me. Why would they not go all in on marketing for a movie that they might not have full confidence in, but they know people will see it? But so if they market it, people definitely will see it. I would be surprised if they didn't do that. So I don't know. I think people, you should have in the back of your minds that this movie could potentially be pushed back to who knows when, probably not far if it does, but keep in mind that it is a possibility. And we mentioned original movies there, Will, and I saw an original movie the other day. That movie was Marty Supreme. This movie came out on Christmas. I'm just seeing it now, which, I'm disappointed in myself. But like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we'll have our movie ranking around Oscar season. So soon, maybe in the next one or two episodes, honestly. Um, yeah, because Oscars are March 15th. So I had to catch up a little bit and watch Marty Supreme. And I did, and it was great. We've been talking a little bit about Timothy Chalamet, Will, and his sort of promotion, and the I don't even know what you'd call it, his antics, or I don't know, but the way he's been conveying himself and promotional material, like what was it? I was on Fallon, right? He's definitely carrying himself differently, and I can confidently say after watching Marty Supreme, it kind of goes hand in hand with the movie.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's all completely a character. I'm sure there's some sincerity in that, but I also think that he's playing up his intensity uh, a little bit just to kind of help with the idea of this movie. I mean, Timothy plays a guy who kind of acts that way. He's very self-assured. He's confident in himself. So yeah, it only makes sense that we'd see that kind of rub off on promotional material. And that's good to see because we both kind of thought that he wasn't acting like the most professional nice young man. Um, a little disappointed there, but I think it's definitely part of the character. But anyway, seeing that movie, I was just impressed, honestly. Uh, when you're talking about original movies, how can you not bring up Marty Supreme? From the casting to the direction, to the cinematography, those close-up shots where you can just see every pore on someone's face, the use of real film combined with the use of digital, which is something that I love to see. I'm not big on the Christopher Nolan mentality of, oh, you can't use digital for this, you can't use digital for that. You gotta choose film, you gotta do this. Do you know how inaccessible film is for everyone? It's really inaccessible. So I don't know how you can just promote and promote and promote something that costs so much money and isn't accessible for everyone. I think you should be promoting the use of digital and maybe upgrading if you have the chance to film, but you can achieve similar looks on digital. I mean, that was shown off perfectly in Marty Supreme with the use of both. Um, so yeah, that again is a whole other conversation, but I think it's important because filmmakers who are overly praising film make other smaller filmmakers think that, oh, I need $1,000 film camera or else I won't be good. No, you need a phone. You need something that can record. It doesn't matter if it's going to film, it matters that it's going somewhere, you know. And digital does that just fine. And if you really want to get that look, you can emulate it to look like film, in one way or another via color grading or whatever you want to do. Um, so yeah, that's just. But I was happy with the use of both in this movie. And I mentioned the casting. Tyler the Creator, Gwyneth Paltrow is great. Kevin O'Leary of Shark Tank fame is a prominent character in this film, and that just really threw me for a loop as he is not an actor, he is a billionaire. And it kind of just made me laugh that Josh Safdie, the director, specifically thought of Kevin O'Leary to play the most insufferable person of all time. I thought that was kind of funny, and just thinking about that going over Kevin O'Leary's head when he got chose to be in this movie just kind of made me laugh. Because yes, he plays a jerk, and from what I know about Kevin O'Leary, I don't like him as a person either. So you know, great casting from Josh Safdie, and yeah, like I said, great performance from Chalamet. Oh, as always, Gwyneth Paltrow, just fantastic. Do you plan on watching this movie, Will?
Yeah, I will probably see it at some point, but I do want to comment on Chalamet's press tour behavior real quick because I had been hearing so many things about, oh,
Yeah.
people are upset with Chalamet's press tour behavior, but he says it's in the spirit of the Marty character. So I was just like, I have to look into this for myself to find out what the heck is going on here and see if there's any legitimacy to it. And I have mixed feelings on it from this standpoint. On one hand, I can tell he is clearly in character on the press tour, and that is a way to draw attention to the movie and make people intrigued by the movie and make people go see the movie. That is the positive aspect of what he's doing on the press tour by staying in character. But I also feel he's putting himself at risk from the standpoint of you kind of have to either know somebody who's seen the movie and who can tell you he's in character, or you've seen the movie yourself and you know, okay, he was in character on the press tour, to kind of get what's going on. Because I feel like if you're somebody who, you know, doesn't know anything about Marty Supreme as a movie and doesn't know Timothy Chalamet that well, you could watch his interview on Jimmy Fallon and be like, boy, he was really acting like a jerk on there. Or watch the interview he gave where he said, I feel like I've been giving really top of the line performances the last 7 to 8 years, and I don't want to take it for granted, and I don't want people to take it for granted. Like, I feel like there's positives that can come from him acting that way, but I also feel like he's putting himself at risk because people who don't know anything about the movie or don't know him that well could look at him say things like that and be like, boy, what a jerk this guy is. I'm never going to see any of his films.
Yeah, definitely it's a possibility that people would think that. And yeah, it just makes that a kind of strange marketing stunt, and it just makes you think that, yeah, some of it is probably part of his personality, which is a little weird. But seeing this movie puts me up to 35 movies this year, so we're very excited to talk about that in the future. But for now, thank you all very much for watching this episode of the Everything Podcast. Will, thank you for joining me as always, and we'll see you next time.